If you love cars like we do, and you look at cars all the time like we do, there's something very satisfying about sharing that with other people. And Flipping Bangers, the TV series, has been so popular. There's been a lot of people asking us for more stuff.
More stuff is coming, but we are waiting to see what the news is going to be on season 4. So we thought we'd do a podcast in the meantime so that people can see what we're actually up to.
Everyone likes a podcast, don't they?
Well, yeah, I think so.
Well, certainly people say they do.
Well, it's a good thing because we get to see more cars and we get to go and look at other people's cars. It doesn't really matter if they're for sale. Sometimes it's enough just to look over it and say, you know, this might be a car that we'd like to do in the future.
Yeah, I get it. So we'll go through the process. We look at the car, what it stands for, what we know about those cars, how it presents.
And conclude with giving it the thumbs up or the thumbs down. Would we buy this car to flip?
I got it. And that sounds like something that I'd listen to.
Yeah, me too.
Right, we're on the road again, yeah?
Good morning, Gus. Yes, we are, and it's a very exciting day because today is my turn to reveal the car for today's podcast.
So we've decided that we can get around the country, can't we? We can go and see cars.
Yeah.
And we've come to see your mate Vernon, haven't we?
Yes, we're on the road tripping, and Vernon is on the list for today.
We're road tripping and we're podcasting. It's all going on, isn't it?
It is, it's fun.
Yeah.
I'm quite liking it.
So it's your you seem to have failed to cover the car up.
Yeah, well, the issue with that is, you know when you do your packing in the morning and you put everything in you need, your cup of coffee, your sandwiches, a conker on a string,
yeah,
and the sheet to cover the car.
Banana.
I've got a banana.
I know you have,
yeah, and I've got my conker on a string, but no sheet for the car. So imagine you're having to guess what that is with that pure visual splendour that is laid out in front of you now. They're not the prettiest cars in the world.
Well, I don't know. You say that. You see, I really like them. So what we're looking at, ladies and gentlemen, is a T25 Volkswagen camper van.
It's the auto sleeper.
It's the auto sleeper, which is a little bit boat-like on top there, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that bit's actually made out of fiberglass as well, which is one of the main materials for making small riverboats.
But it's in white with a brown stripe, which is...
It's the only colour scheme they did for the auto sleeper, I'll have you know.
Is it really?
Yes,
You've
isn't that
been doing
good?
your homework.
I have.
So when I look at that, what I see is luxury. Because when we were kids, we had the one before this, the Type 2, the bay window one.
Yes.
And my mum, my dad, my sister, who was a baby crying, my other sister, me, and 4 dogs used to go to the north of Scotland in it. And the only thing that would keep you warm was cuddling up to the dogs.
If I've done my sums correctly, that's 10 living beings within a Type 2 camper, which is like getting 2 humans in a Type 2 camper. That's virtually impossible.
Yeah, it was very, very, very busy in there. And I just imagine now that when we got to the relations who were right up in Wick, right up in the north, all through the winter up for Christmas, and you'd pop the door, the sliding door, and I just imagine the fog that came out of all the dogs and all
4 dogs,
the kids.
3 girls, you, 2 adults, like if you're being fired out on a spring.
But I look at this and I see luxury now.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a Type 2. This is what you'd normally call the Type 3, but it's called the T25.
T25, yeah.
Which I don't understand why that is.
T3 makes sense to me because it's Type 3, isn't it? Type 1, Type 2, Type 3.
But anyway, I know there's a lot of people out there that will get really upset if we don't call it the right name.
Yeah, because in actual fact, it's a whole community, isn't it? It's the Volkswagen community is very much a thing.
It is, and the right name is very, very important because in the UK, we call it the Type 25. But every other continent or country, especially in Europe, they've all got their own names.
Yeah.
And I have taken the liberty...
You've written them down?
I've written them down.
It's got a list on the windscreen.
I have. I've got written in my very own hieroglyphics. So I'm going to need to put my glasses on for this. Hold on just one moment. You can talk amongst yourselves for a moment.
Well, I see this. I mean, I don't know what engine this has got. So this is E-Reg. So this is 1989.
Ooh, 80, yeah, about that, isn't it?
Is it 1989? So this would be a water-cooled rather than air-cooled. The early ones were air-cooled,
Well,
the later ones were water-cooled.
Yeah, they did. I can't really remember, because I know the earlier ones were like 1600 or 2-litre petrols.
Yeah.
And then there were 2 other petrol options.
Yeah, there was they basically put a water jacket around the original 2-litre engine.
Is that what they did?
Yeah.
Right, okay, because I'm not that au fait with this. What I do know is that when Volkswagen released this van, they were thinking, you know, one day we're going to stick that 4-cylinder Golf engine in that we have, because it's a great engine.
But they never did.
No,
Not this, no,
because they'd have to convert so much on the engine and so much on the vehicle to do it. They just, it never happens.
I'm sure everyone's waiting to hear your list of names. Have you got it?
And here we go. Watch this. Okay, so in Europe, the Type 25 microbus and combi in South Africa, Brazil and Australia. And then we had the Campioto in the Netherlands. Oh, I did the wrong accent for that, I'm sorry. The combi in France, and the Vanagon in South America.
That's the one that gets me, the Vanagon.
The Vanagon.
Because that's what you'd say if you came out in the morning and someone had nicked it.
Yeah,
the
Vanagon. In an Italian accent, of course.
Not in South America. They speak Spanish. Actually, they speak Portuguese as well, don't they?
I did an Italian accent there.
So they carried on making these. So they finished here. They went on, so these started in 79. I think 79 was the last of the T2s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And these went on till 80.
Was,
this one's 80. It must have gone on to nearly 2000.
I think it was about there, yeah, because then they moved on to the Type 4, which I've had one of.
Have you?
Yeah, I had a blue one. It was ex-electricity board, and because it was ex-electricity board, it was the Synchro. And I bought it because
4x4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bought it because it was the Synchro. Because, you know, I was like, how I like my 4x4s, I couldn't bear to have a 2-wheel drive van, so I bought the Synchro.
Yeah. Well, that must sap the power, though, doesn't it? And
well,
it's less
there are several issues. I mean, of course, it's the next model on from this car.
But it's the same. It was the push system, isn't it? That made in Graz in Austria. The same as the Pandas and the...
all made by the same people,
yeah. I think so, yeah.
But mine was the Type 4, and it had the rather terribly lackluster 2.4 5-cylinder diesel engine in it, so I fell out of love with it very, very quickly.
You do love a diesel, don't you?
Yeah, I do like a diesel,
yeah.
yes. Yeah,
I remember when we were talking to Ra the other day and you said, oh, look at that engine, that's amazing. Then you said, oh, it's got plugs in it. That's not for me. And I thought, oh, that's really weird. And I wonder where that's come from with you, the fact that you do love a diesel.
I know where it's from. I am the son of a Yorkshire accountant. Right? Okay. Now, there's nothing tighter than an accountant. And do you know how they invented copper wire?
You've told me this before.
Yeah. It was 2 Yorkshiremen fighting over a penny.
You're going to get in so much trouble for saying that. So much trouble. My wife's from Yorkshire. She was born in Leeds.
Well, there you go. Don't tell her I said that.
So we have... So we have a white, matte white, I would say, auto sleeper T25, matte white with a matte brown stripe around it.
Which I would say was in pretty much average condition.
For the age?
Or expected condition, yeah, for the age.
Yeah, I would say so as well. I know from my mate John, who is mad on these, that the panels are spot welded and bonded. So when you start getting this sort of rust, I'm just looking at a line where the panels join, and you get rust coming up through the joint, and it's very, very, very difficult to sort out.
Now, this one here is a classic example, isn't it? I'm currently looking at the rear wheel arch, where the rear wheel arch is just a very small panel that fits onto the rear wing skin, and there is a very, very, very strong line of rust sort of bubbling through that, and there's been various repairs done over the years.
Yeah, it's got the classic lumpy filler.
It has, which I think you could say was a pretty fair description of the rest of the van. I mean, it's not too bad.
No, but these are the areas where trouble occurs, isn't it? On that rear wheel arch, and that, in actual fact, that rear swinging arm. When we get to that later, but the rear swinging arm on these often does a collapsing job, doesn't it?
Do you know what? I've noticed that quite a lot on these, and I always thought it was because they'd spent too much time at the beach with the tailgate open with some surfer sleeping in the back, you know, in that sort of general sort of salty air. I thought that was the main problem.
Yeah, cool. They're just too cool.
Yeah, too cool.
It's funny, isn't it? It's a real thing. You sort of either get it or you don't with these. Don't you think?
Yeah.
I've never. I mean, I know you said you've had one. I think maybe I was put off because we had that one as a kid.
You had the model before this, and I had the model after this. To me, I sort of see it as it's the in-betweener. Because I, personally, I mean, a lot of people are going to love the look of this vehicle.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not a massive fan, but I don't think it's an ugly car.
Oh, I see it, but I see it, like I said before, I see this as luxury compared to ours. This is luxury. It's got a proper heater in it, especially the water-cooled ones that had proper heaters in them. And it was the Mystery Machine, wasn't it?
Well, it kind of is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Isn't that what they based it on?
No, I don't know. I don't think so.
I
that
think
was an
they
American show. They wouldn't have based it on a European car.
Well, it was American as well. I mean, they were all over the States, these. I think the Mystery Machine was a T3. That's documented somewhere that Scooby-Doo drove around in a T3. I think he did.
Well, I will back you up on that by saying if he didn't, he should have done.
Interestingly, you come around to the near side, and the near side's actually cleaner, isn't it?
It's a lot less rusty. I mean, the car is completely straight.
Oh, without
which
a doubt,
is very, very nice to see.
Yeah.
It's got aftermarket alloy wheels on it, which, by the hubcaps in the centre of them, I say,
like they might be off a Mercedes.
There's a fair chance, isn't there? There might be something giving that away.
Yeah.
I'm quite keen to see what engine it's got in it. Well, let me say this, because I already know what engine it's got in it.
Well, that's because you've talked to Vernon to get it off him.
Yes, I did. Vernon's told me all sorts.
Brilliant.
So come to the far end.
Has it been converted? It is quite a common thing.
You're certainly getting warmer.
Yeah.
Yes, you are getting warmer. Oh, as you said that, and I said you're getting warmer, I noticed that the clouds are parted, and we now have sunshine.
It's a beautiful day.
Because this has been a chilly day so far.
Yeah, yeah.
Almost frosty.
The sun's got a bit of warmth in it still, hasn't it?
Yeah. I'm now
So
basking like a lizard in the sunshine.
It's late October, and we've just had... Was it Storm Bert? Was that his name?
Yes.
And Storm Bert did for my Mini because I rather stupidly left the windows open. So I've driven down here effectively in a sponge.
You've got soggy trousers.
I've got very soggy trousers and a very soggy back. Right, I think we should take this opportunity. We've been round the car. We've explained what it is. It's a T25 camper in white.
Burgundy and rust brown.
It is burgundy, you're right.
It is, yeah, I think,
It's not brown, it's burgundy.
If you give it a bit of a spitty rub.
You're right. It's a fine line, though. I'm a bit colourblind.
Yeah, oh, right, okay.
To be fair.
I'd say that was a,
You're
sort
right.
of plum burgundy.
If that was on a Triumph, that would be Aramis red on a speed twin in a...
Yeah.
But what I wanted to comment on, which we haven't really stood back and taken in, is the little chromium-plated bar at the back, which look at the top. So the Auto Sleeper has this huge fiberglass block on top, which is streamlined at the front, but then at the back it's got this sort of... It's like the back of a gin palace.
Boat.
Little gin palace.
Yes, a very small riverboat gin palace.
Yeah.
It's got boat windows in the side, which are the
has.
parallel ones with the rounded ends and slidey.
Yeah.
And then, basically...
Can you stand up there?
A stainless steel boat rail, I wouldn't do it.
But can you? Can you get out there?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm not saying we should.
Yeah, no, I think that's why I'm saying I don't know.
Oh, okay,
I don't think we should.
But it looks like you could stand up there and give the salute, doesn't it?
Yeah, it'd be like Kate Winslet at the back of the Titanic. Just as it sinks.
It's a bizarre thing when you look at it, but it is stainless steel. It's not
I think the fiberglass bit must have been made by a small boat company. To me, I do apologise, people. I'm taking the mickey out of the fiberglass roof. I shouldn't be doing that.
Why not?
But I can just see the fun in it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun and funny. And if you can't laugh at,
So that's got a bed, one bed in there. Yeah. Hasn't it?
Let's get to that when we get to the inside.
Yeah.
Shall we have a commercial break?
Let's have a commercial break, because I like the idea of this whole commercial break thing, which is us desperately trying to get someone to sponsor the show. The commercials will play at this point, which is the point where we go and have a cup of tea.
Yes.
Which is great, isn't it? Because that's
so by the time the kettle's boiled, we've poured our tea, drunk our tea, had a couple of bourbons or some custard creams.
Yes.
Commercials are done.
Yes.
We're back out. At which point,
yes,
we're going to go and see the marvels that lay beneath the boot lid.
Yeah, okay.
The engine.
I'm excited about that. I like the idea of converting things that were... Well, they weren't flawed, were they? But I think they were sort of underpowered, weren't they, a bit, I'd say. I mean,
I
that's
don't
just
know
me.
what it is
Come on,
yet.
let's go and have a cup of tea. Right, we're back. We're back with our T25 Auto Sleeper in white and burgundy, as it's been pointed out to me.
And slightly rusty brown as well.
And
Now,
are we still podcasting?
we are podcasting.
We're
This
still
is our
podcasting.
T25 podcast,
Yeah.
which I am so excited about because we've covered the main appearance of what the vehicle is and the main appearance of it, so you know what that is.
Yeah.
And I'm now literally bouncing with excitement because I'm leading Gus.
Yeah,
down towards
he knows what's coming. I
the
don't know
back
what's
end.
coming, but he knows what's coming. So there's a conversion, isn't there?
And we're gonna have the drum roll. Da, 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 da.
Come on.
Watch out, 'cause it's got extra strong doodahs in it.
Blimey, that's
yeah,
savage. Didn't that take your teeth out? Wouldn't
yeah, it's supposed to have a bite back.
Oh, look at that. That is so neat. So in the back of this T25 is what looks like a Subaru Flat 4.
It's a legacy engine.
Is it? So it's 2.5?
2.5, yeah. From a 2002 car.
That's very, very neat, isn't it?
It looks like it was born to be in that
really
little
does.
gap there.
So we have the engine is closest to the back of the car. The gearbox is in front of that, and it's the legacy gearbox, which it's a very, very neat conversion, and also it's a very clean engine, which helps, doesn't it?
It does. It really, really does. It's the sort of conversion that I like. You know, you've got a nice old classic vehicle, which originally, I don't think the range of engines that were in these were ever particularly brilliant, in as much as
No, they were up to 2 litre.
They were a bit lackluster,
The one thing that I've just noticed is it's got an incredibly low sump,
Oh yes,
hasn't it? I mean, that's less than 6 inches off the deck.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you how much it is. That's more. Yeah, it's a lot less than 6 inches off the deck.
Yeah. 6 inches is a difficult measurement, isn't it?
It is. What I was going to say is, I put my fist underneath it, and if I just tuck my thumb up a little bit, I can touch the bottom of the sump.
Just looking at this conversion, it is incredibly neat. And like you say, it looks like it's supposed to go in there, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really, apart from that sumpy bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, that could easily be changed. I mean, you could widen the sump.
Or you could, but I mean,
Lower it.
I'm sure they do rally pans for Subaru sumps, don't they?
Yeah.
They must do. But it is very neat. And so the gearbox just drives a little stub axles, and the gearbox drives the rear wheels.
Just onto the normal drive system. And the rear swinging arms on these are your great big, sort of like, they're pressed steel construction.
Yeah, they
with
are.
a coil spring on top, which, as I think we said earlier, you know, they do have a bit of a habit of going rusty, which I always thought was because surf dudes were parking them next to the beach for too long.
Well, I think it's just what happens because, and I think especially as in everything, it's normally the near side one, isn't it? Because it gets more erosion,
more puddle.
More puddle. But it's interesting, isn't it, that the drive shaft goes through the swinging arm. I like that. It's sort of neat, isn't it? See, I've never really studied one of these underneath before.
I think, you know, you say about the neatness of the swinging arm, you know, we are literally talking about a Volkswagen here.
Yeah.
You know, Volkswagen's design team were brilliant at making things simple and neat.
Yes.
And that is that all over, isn't it?
It really is, yeah. It really is both.
I mean, a lot of stuff that they do lends itself so well to customization and conversion.
Yeah.
So this is
Because it's so simple.
converted rather than customized, because I mean they are almost the same thing, but this is a practical conversion.
Yeah.
You know, you've got a nice water-cooled 4-cylinder flat 4 engine. So much oomph, you wouldn't know what to do with it in this vehicle.
Yeah, no, they were fantastic. So especially the normal aspirated flat 4 Subaru engines they just went on forever. I mean, it was not until you start turbocharging them to death that they start giving up the ghost. But in this, I had a flat 4 and a Forester of mine, and I did 250,000 miles. I probably mentioned it before. I talk about it all the time. but they are fantastic engines, aren't they?
Yeah.
And also, the other thing that this will give you is a fantastic heating system in this car as well.
Yes, I think Vernon is extremely pleased about that. He actually said it works really well for the first time in its life. I think it's good to mention about this engine conversion that's been done is, okay, so it's an EFI engine. So you think, oh, crikey, if I want to do that myself, how am I going to do it? Because what about all that, you know, that nasty electrical string that
the ECU.
goes to a brain?
Yeah.
Yeah, the ECU. How do you do it? Well, most of the stuff that comes off the car is what can be worked straight into this. So just based on that, it can't be that difficult at conversion. I mean, from my point of view, I would initially imagine that somebody would supply a standalone ECU loom for this car, which you just give it a 12-volt supply and connection to the ignition for the starter, and you're kind of away with the mixer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean,
I don't know. I don't know the intricacies or the ins and outs of it. All I know is that the ECU is the most difficult bit about the whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very neat, and I'm sure that this sort of thing goes on in the States all the time. Don't you?
I mean, that's pretty popular conversion, I think.
Yeah.
Should we have a look at its accoutrements?
I think we should have a look at
indoors.
Yeah, I think we should. I mean, obviously there's a dog bed at the back here, so that's where the dog goes. It's not what?
No, that's not my bed. Oh, it's got a hammer in it. Who keeps a dog bed with a rubber hammer in it?
Someone with a very naughty dog.
Dogs behave.
Come on, then let's have a look inside. Have you ever been inside this? Do you know how it's split up?
No, what I do know about pretty much all of these campers is that you are limited in space because they're a small, medium-sized van.
Yeah.
So if you need to do anything like open that cupboard, you've got to close something else first.
Yeah, that's the way it works.
If you want to get the bed out, you've got to close everything first.
I'd say like a Chinese puzzle.
It is, yeah. Yeah, so it's a case of planning your day.
Yeah.
So when you get up in the morning and the kids are asleep upstairs in the bunk bed.
So hang on, let's just talk through this, shall we? So we've opened.
What have we got here?
Opened the door, and initially we've got a floor area, which is great, and we've got a bench seat to the right. So at the rear, there's a bench seat for 2, possibly 3. It was in our case, people, and we didn't have any seatbelts in ours. So 3 people. Then you've got. In front of you, you've got an array of cupboards and a workspace. And
a stunning array of cupboards and workspace.
Yeah, there's a lot of space in there, isn't there?
It really is. I mean, the workspace itself, the top is a good 450 to 500 mil from front to back.
And I'm just lifting up one, and there's a sink under there, which is great.
I can imagine that underneath this one there is a little gas cooker.
So that's fabulous, isn't it?
Just behind the driver's seat.
Cooker, a sink. And if I...
hold on, the important bit. What? Does it have... Oh, yes.
It has a grill.
Because no camping holiday is going to be complete without cheese on toast.
No, that's true.
That lovely little afternoon snack.
Yeah.
Do you ever put a bit of Marmite on your cheese before you put it under the grill?
I don't like cheese on toast, but my wife does, yeah. And she often puts English mustard on it as well.
Oh, yeah, that's nice. Yeah. So there you go. That's what that little gadget's for, is for making those lovely little homely delights that you need.
So that's great. And then I assume everything else is... I'm going down the storage. So there's a cutlery drawer. I suppose you can put what you want in them, and they've all got those clips on them.
Yeah.
Like airlines. So
it's like, that one. It's the great old thing, isn't it? It's like stowing everything away before travel.
Yeah, nice.
If the cupboard actually has got a catch on it so it doesn't come bursting open as you're tearing round a roundabout at 23 miles an hour.
That's a big plus.
Yeah.
But they've got that sort of sorted out right, haven't they? Yeah. So in the auto sleeper bit, there's a bed. So I'm standing and facing the back of the van.
Worth pointing out at this stage.
Yeah, go on.
Well, we're standing.
Yeah, standing.
There is a ton of headroom.
Yeah,
here. It feels very nice and spacious.
We're both 6'6" at least, aren't we?
Oh, we are, yes. Until I look in the mirror and I realise, or if I'm in one of those identity parades where you've actually got the measurements next to me, as I'm not. I've never quite made it 6 foot.
But there is plenty of headroom in there. So there's a bed. There's a double bed, and I assume this slides out from here. Yeah, so this...
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, so we have a double bed up the top, and then this makes into... This doesn't go up, does it?
I was just wondering.
No,
it doesn't. No, that doesn't. That is it.
So that's you in there, and this extends this way, and that's you in there, which is great, isn't it? And then there's a double bed down here as well. So there's a lot of sleeping space, isn't there?
The bed upstairs is definitely for smaller people.
Yeah.
Yeah, the younger generation.
And then really small people could maybe go in these cupboards.
Along with the plates. Oh, camping chairs?
Camping chairs, they're big.
That's a massive
This is a cupboard that goes over the cab, and it's huge in actual fact.
Full camping chairs in there, and pink hats.
Yeah.
with hello written on them.
Oh,
Hello Kitty. Oh, that's quite sweet, isn't it?
but not yours.
Not mine. I might borrow it.
So there is an amazing amount of space in here, isn't there?
Let's sit down there, Gus. Let's have a little sit down together on the back seat and just see if it still feels like an amazing amount of space. Actually, that's not bad. Still makes me giggle a little bit, though, because I'm counting up the amount of living beings you had in your Type 2.
Yeah.
And there were 10 of you. So there's 4 dogs.
Yeah.
4 children.
3 children.
Oh, 3 children.
Yeah.
So there are 9 of you in total. Yeah. 4 dogs, 3 children, 2 adults.
It's a lot.
It's a squish, isn't it?
It's a lot of people in I don't even know what those original Type 2 vans would they be 1600s. I don't know the specifics of it.
Somebody else will do, please.
So, let me just recap. So we're in a T25 Type 3 auto sleeper, Volkswagen auto sleeper van, and we're inside it, and it's amazing. The packaging is fantastic, absolutely fantastic, and I'm sure obviously everyone who has these or loves these knows about it. But it is a fantastic bit of packaging. It really is.
Gus, you were just saying, for those who have one or love them, I think there's a ton of people out there that absolutely love these vehicles.
Oh, definitely.
And I've just jumped into the front, and I was looking at the vehicle from the outside, and it kind of looks a little bit dated. But the inside and the dash arrangements and the driving area doesn't look that dated, does it?
No, I'm just looking at. We're sitting in the passenger seat. I'm standing in the back, and I can see that the gauges are classic Mark 1 Golf. It's that era, isn't it? And I mean, that's just what it reminds me of. It's just tidy. They did a very good job, didn't they, Volkswagen? They made a very good, neat, tidy. I mean, it's all crispy plastic, isn't it? There's no sort of slush mouldings.
No, there's nothing. There's nothing soft about any of it. It's all quite hard and strong, but with a massive glove box.
Huge glove box. That was him opening. I'm sure you heard it.
Yeah, that's barn dance size, and it's full of various bits of tat and objet d'art as well, which is handy. Scissors and a stone.
It's in very good condition in here, isn't it? It's clearly used, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this is my sort of vehicle. So I like a camper van. As you well know, I've spent quite a lot of my life.
Hang on, did you say this is your sort of vehicle? I'm Vernon's standing outside, and I'm sure he knows what the inside of your vehicles looks like, and this looks like nothing like one of your vehicles.
From that point of view, you are completely correct, because this is clean and tidy. And none of my vehicles are clean or tidy. Well, they are when I buy them.
Yeah, but I know what you're saying. It's got that utilitarian.
Yes, that's right. I suppose it's sort of also, the camper van part of it brings back quite a lot of nostalgia for me.
Yeah.
I like camper van. I've spent a lot of years working at festivals and going to festivals. And when doing those two things, you spend a lot of time in a camper van, either you own or somebody else's, just sort of, whiling away an evening, hanging out with friends.
You've broken that, haven't you?
I'm not broken. I'm just trying to close it. It's a glove box. It should just close beautifully, which
I think just leave it. Oh, there we are. It's closed.
Thank you, Vernon. That's quite. I wasn't going to take it to that extreme because you were watching me, and this is your van, not mine.
You could see he wanted to, though, Vernon, couldn't you? You could see he wanted to slam.
Yeah, a good slam.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, I've spent a lot of time sat in camper vans and in Volkswagens as well, and it makes me sort of think about all the fun times, holidays, and for me mainly sort of festivals.
Well, I've got very good friends now who they've got a bay window one, a Type 2, and they still go on holiday with their children down to, and their children are sort of 16 and 14. I think. Actually, I think Fred's,
still, I think they're probably getting to the upper limit of being capable of squeezing into the attic apartment area.
But I think it's more to do with the fact that they all enjoy it. They all enjoy getting up really early, getting to the parking space at Bigbury where it gets full if you get there after 9 o'clock, and having the van open, having it there as somewhere they can pop back to. They'll make a bit of lunch in it. It's the whole thing, and I get it.
It's the cheese on toast and fresh coffee machine.
Yeah. No, I do. I mean, I spent most of my experience of these is desperately wanting to get out of them rather than stay in them. But Yeah, no, I do get it. I absolutely get it. I think so. Shall we have a little break?
Yeah.
What I would call
We need
tentatively a commercial break.
Yes, it's going to be a fantastic commercial break full of a really interesting advert where somebody else is going to share some space with us, give us 5 minutes off where we can go and, drink tea, eat biscuits and come back to us and have a think about this on what could be a commercial level for us.
Well, I think I'd quite like to have a look underneath it as well, proper poke around underneath it. Because it's clever, it's nicely packaged, isn't it? I like it. I like the idea of it.
I think the front end always amazes me, so I particularly want us to have a squint at the steering and suspension at the front end.
Yeah. We're having a commercial break. We're just back from our commercial break and Will is trying to swivel the seat, which I assume is the wrong way because now you've got your feet out the door, haven't you? And I think that's illegal.
It's still quite comfy though, and I can imagine. I'm turned 90 degrees to the car.
Yeah,
I'm
so
looking
he's
out
facing
of
the
the
door.
passenger door. It's a hot, balmy day. I'm imagining I'm at Woolacombe.
Yeah.
I'm watching the tide rise.
Yeah, nice.
And the waves come rolling in, wondering if now's my time to pull the surfboard out from its bag.
Or maybe the pipe and have a nice smoke and
And nice, sit back with a magazine.
It's worth mentioning, which we haven't mentioned actually, that there is two, I did wonder what they were, two plates in the floor for tables, isn't there?
Yeah.
So there's one at the back by the bench seat, which goes in, and one between the seats. It's worth mentioning also that it's got some very plush half-leather seats in the front, which clearly aren't out of this car, but are out of something else.
Those are far too posh for this
Yeah,
band.
they look like they might be BMW seats, don't they? They're very nice.
Vern, what are these from?
An E21 BMW.
You were right!
I was right, but he did tell me earlier.
Oh, you can't say that.
Yeah, no, but it adds to the sort of smartness in here, doesn't it? It looks great.
Brings it up.
But you
a level.
do use this all the time, don't you?
Yeah, a couple of months ago we were in Cornwall with it.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
I think
it's ancestral home.
It's got a big fat sat nav screwed, actually permanently fitted to the vehicle.
Yeah,
I mean, that shows that this is a working touring bus.
Yeah. We're supposed to be having a look underneath, so put your tea down. Let's go and have a look.
I'm not going to move that seat again because I haven't managed to break it so far, and I don't intend to.
Been underneath the back here, we're going underneath the back of the car, and we've been under here, and we've seen the engine conversion, which is great, of course. I'm just shuffling round. Wheels around the other side. But it's clean enough
So
under
this
here,
would have
isn't it?
this has got coil springs.
Yep.
And everything prior to this would have had torsion bars.
Torsion bars, yes, and the earlier ones.
Tucked away somewhere. But
Yeah.
I'm also looking sort of slightly further forwards of the rear axle now, and I'm seeing all the other bits that have come in on the conversion. So we've got the fuel pump here for the injection system and its filter. And also, it looks like somebody's run through some bigger, thicker, higher flow hot water pipes for
the radiator.
Yes.
Yeah.
For the cooling system.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's a bracket that's bolted on the cross member here, which is the rear attachment for the gearbox. So there's a
it's funny, isn't it? It's almost counterintuitive because we say rear and you look at it and it's like, it's back of the gearbox.
Yeah, but actually it's the front of the gearbox.
It's the other way around, isn't it?
Yeah, it's interesting, but it does make you think, well, this hasn't been fabricated, this has been bought and made, so there must be a conversion kit, mustn't there? Because I would have said that was anyway, wouldn't you?
Yes, it looks pretty well put together.
Yeah.
Great big fuel tank, painted bright silver.
Yeah, that's neat, isn't it?
Yeah. Shuffling forward.
There's no rust under here, though, is there? In this.
Do you know, it's funny. You must have read my mind, or you must be looking at exactly the same sort of stuff as me.
I am just the other side.
Opposites. It's in very, very clean, rust-free condition, and you can see there's been a protection's been put on it. I'm sort of just having a touch. It feels like it might have had some sort of wax applied to the chassis.
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it?
But it seems to be working quite well.
But they were very forward-thinking in that, weren't they? Volkswagen, in their chassis protection, in their undercar protection.
Yeah, you say that because a friend of mine used to have a what she called a Golf no letters.
Oh,
so
okay,
it was the lowest version model of a Golf Mark 1.
Yeah, my sister had one, 4-speed.
Yeah. And if you parked out in the sunshine, the sort of waxy residue would drip out to the bottom of the doors and the tailgates.
Exactly that. My sister's was the same as well. That's what made me say it. But that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
I loved it.
We went on holiday in the south of France, and the car left a mark everywhere it went. It's the first time we'd ever seen sunshine.
Must have thinned it out nicely, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
we'd have got right into the seams and sealed them up beautifully.
It was funny, wasn't it, driving that? Because she had it a very long time, my sister. Is it called an L? It was a Golf L, wasn't it?
No, it was
it
the Golf,
letters?
no letters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But with that 4-speed box, because it always felt like it needed another gear, didn't it?
Yeah, screaming down. But it still do 80.
Yeah, down to the south of France. That's quite something, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's quite a long way, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite
Well,
a long
it was a
way.
good engine though, wasn't it?
Especially as you'd only just passed a driving test. It was frightening.
So the front suspension here...
Is not at all what I was expecting.
Well, it's not what I was expecting.
No,
is it? I
that
have to
is...
say.
So we've got sort of wishbone.
Well, it's a wishbone, but it's only... Yeah, a top wishbone, definitely, isn't it?
And a bottom arm.
And a bottom arm.
which
yeah,
is cast steel. Imagine the unsprung weight in that.
Yeah, it's huge, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's chunky, isn't it?
Oh, that is
So it's
built like
pressed steel wishbone at the top, and then a cast.
yeah, and a coil
arm at the
spring
bottom.
for it all to ride on.
Lovely.
I mean, that looks bomb-proof to me.
It does to me as well.
Yeah.
It really does.
That is something I'm really quite impressed. Now, we were interested in seeing how the steering gets down here, so
Yeah.
I'm going to shimmy forwards
have a
in
look.
front of this front wheel.
We must, at some point, invest in a ramp. Wouldn't that be great?
Oh, crikey. I dream of the day that we get to work on a car that's on a ramp, Gus. Is that a flying saucer or a spare wheel carrier?
Spare wheel. So right at the front of the car, behind the bumper, is the carrier for the spare wheel. So that's all tucked up in there.
Space age. It does look like a flying saucer.
Yeah, it does, but it's not. I mean, it's a full-size wheel, isn't it? There's a torsion arm with drop links on the front as well, isn't there?
Yeah.
Which is all. It's all. I mean, all bushes and that all look fine, don't they? I mean, it's interesting, this isn't it? Because if we were going to buy this, you'd have to work out what you were going to do to it.
But let's just weigh that up anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think we should look at it. I mean, what would you do to this if you? I mean, instantly when you look at the exterior of it, you think, oh. I mean, I've got something about rust.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, I'm not going to be able to live with that. But
Yeah. Well, that's where the problem lies with this one.
Exactly.
Because all of the rust is not underneath.
no, it's great
It's
underneath.
visual on the bodywork. So that's going to really do your head in, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got to be able to let that go, haven't you?
Yeah.
Because if you can,
Well-
but if you can't, see, that's the thing. If you were going to buy this and then and try and sell it again,
Yeah.
the only way you're going to move this on is in appearance, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, I think to actually make any money out of this vehicle, it's not going to come up cheap because of what it is.
Yeah,
So
and it's a really good conversion.
yeah.
It's been done really
It's-
well.
Yeah, so you've got a really good thing. I'm going to stand up because I'm starting to get a bit cold lying in this ice-covered ground.
Yeah, it's a bit chilly.
I mean, he's hurting. Yeah, so that's it, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
the underside looks very good. It's
great.
It's got a great engine conversion in it.
Yep.
Which really adds to the value and the usability of the car.
Yep.
It's got a nice set of alloy wheels, which personally I don't think really suit it, but they're beauties in the eye of the beholder.
Would have been steel wheels with a little black hubcaps in the middle, wouldn't it? I can visualise it. Isn't that
Yeah.
weird? That's like my superpower.
Yeah. You go through your Rolodex of memories.
Yeah. What wheels look
You
like.
come with a black and white photograph because you're old.
Yeah, sorry.
I think the interior is good enough to leave as is, but just maybe see that bit of vinyl there. Looking
Yes.
through the rear window, there's a bit of vinyl on the back of the cupboard.
Yeah, it's got a bit of sun
Which
damage
is-
on it, hasn't it?
Yeah, that could do with a bit of something to
Yeah.
tidy it up.
Well, I suppose in actual fact, mentioning the interior, if you wanted to go whole hog on it, you would do the exterior and then you would do the interior, wouldn't you? You'd replace the.
That's whole hog.
I know. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting that that's what we would do, because in actual fact, it's very obvious that we would struggle with this car.
Yeah,
because
we
there's
would.
not enough for us to do in a short amount of time. It's a proper project, and you'd take it on because you wanted to own a T3 van, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it is falling into that bracket,
Yeah,
isn't it?
definitely.
We couldn't turn this into a profitable job for us, because to make that profitable for us, we'd have to basically respray the whole vehicle.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there's a lot of rust treatment to be done and possibly a small amount of welding in behind some of those sort of gobs of filler that are in the side of it. That's why these are the perfect enthusiast cars, because, you know, you've got a good base here. You could own this vehicle for years and get a lot of joy and entertainment out of it.
As it is.
Yeah, as it is.
Yeah, exactly. I
And
agree,
if you
which
were
is what Vernon does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're a tinkerer, you can go much further.
Yeah. So what are we saying about this van then? We're saying that exactly that. So nothing we can do, but it's a great van, isn't it?
It will just go on and on and on and on.
Well, it's a Volkswagen with a bit of Subaru in it, which is
even better.
even better.
Yeah, you've got the best of both worlds.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a cracking van. Right, we're going to call it a day with this, aren't we?
Yeah,
I think that's our conclusion.
Yeah, concluded. Thank you very much for listening. It's been a pleasure.
It has been a pleasure. It's always a pleasure.
Yes.
And it's nice to be in the sun, isn't it?
Oh, I'm loving it. I'm basking like a lizard in the sunshine.
Yeah.
Lucky old me.
Right, till next time, everybody.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
The Flipping Bangers podcast features Gus Gregory and Will Trickett. It's produced by Dan Allum and is a Just Mike TV production. International copyright is asserted. No opinions in the show are personally held. Audio engineering is by Stephen O'Toole. And we've used a sample composed by Lakey Inspired. If you'd like to get in touch, please visit justmike.tv or chat to us via Instagram at Flipping Bangers. Thanks for listening.